Hello and welcome to the Large and Unnecessary First Player Token podcast. This is episode 53. My name is Chris.
I'm Euan.
I'm Pawel.
Hello lads, how you doing?
Ah, not bad.
Some of us are doing awesome.
This is a slightly sleepy intro there.
It was a wee bit. It's because we've got the lights off in here.
It's very dim in
the
here.
sun's disappeared.
Oh, it's fine. Hopefully it'll go completely dark in the middle of this.
It's just completely dropped our mood a bit.
I'm sorry, this is Scotland. I thought that was just default.
Well, yeah, I mean, we are lacking in our normal lack of vitamin D.
Alright. Okay, no, that's fine.
Wait, I'm trying to make sense of that.
Yeah, it doesn't make
actually.
any
I don't know.
grammatical sense.
What was that?
I'm a wee bit woozy, I apologise. We're lacking in our lack. That means we've got too much vitamin D.
I mean, that
Well, it has been a bit sunny over the last few days. This is a bit more like it.
Right, so this podcast is about vitamins.
It did make sense.
you got there eventually. We worked that out.
I knew I was right.
Right. Well, I'm glad we've cleared that up. So this is a podcast about gaming
And vitamins.
And apparently about vitamins. Mm-hmm. So this week we're going to talk about some video games.
Are we?
I think we are.
Oh, good.
I think we did board games last week. Is that right? Have I got things messed up? It's board games last week. Video games this week. Let's talk about some video games.
We're good.
Right. Well, first up, a couple of weeks ago we talked about the hottest VR release at the time, which was Farpoint for PSVR, which
is not that hot anymore because there's hotter stuff coming
yeah,
up.
because there's even hotter stuff coming, and we're going to talk about that later. But yeah, Farpoint
is now presently lukewarm.
Are you going to let me finish a sentence?
Totally.
Hey, you let him do that one. You missed a trick there, Pawel.
So yeah, Farpoint, when it came out, well, when we did that last video games episode, I'd only really played about a couple of hours of Farpoint. So I've played a few more hours of it. Resolved some major plot points, I would say. Fought the sort of first major boss as well, which was terrifying, to be honest. It was basically just a bigger version of all those spiders that keep fucking attacking you. It was absolutely huge. And it was an interesting fight. Lots of grenades and missiles being thrown about the place.
You like your explosives, don't you?
Yeah, you got to have some explosives.
They're pretty important in that game.
They are pretty important.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain times where you just want to blow everything up. And you can't blow absolutely everything up, but you can blow a few things up, and that's good.
My understanding of a massive boss in a VR game essentially means neck pain.
Yeah, actually, you're right. There was a lot of looking up at this boss. As it scuttled on top of a cliff at one point.
Alright.
I say scuttled, it was more like stamped. The thing's fucking massive.
Right.
But yeah, it was absolutely huge, this thing. But I mean, I've been enjoying Farpoint. I have been enjoying it. You've played a bit of it now.
Yeah, I played a good chunk. I think roughly what you'd played
Before
when you first talked about it. So I've got a bit of a feel for it. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. It's it feels like a game, and it has a bit of mystery and the storyline. I didn't really know, obviously going in, much about the story, and yeah, you're going to some space station. It's all kind of hurriedly.
It does kind of move along quite quickly once it starts.
Aye, I felt like they were setting something up interesting with, because a lot of the focus seemed to be on these two characters who are like you follow through little bits of like holograms you find and little like video diaries that they put. So it was really odd that like your character doesn't actually have a lot to do up to this point that I've seen anyway. It did seem to be setting up that something weird was going to happen though.
Well, the whole thing is about that first bit of the game, at least, of what I've seen so far anyway, has been about those two characters.
Yeah.
So the two people that you went to pick up in your shuttlecraft before everything got sucked into some sort of wormhole. And yeah, you're just wandering about this planet trying to find them, and like you say, finding evidence of like conversations they had with each other and stuff through holograms. I've got to a point now where basically I have decoded all the holograms that that you could get for those two people,
Right.
or that's what the game has told me anyway. It was basically, I don't know if you've noticed, but whenever sometimes when you're walking about, you get to a certain part in the game and it says, okay, holographic thing's ready, and then it goes to a proper cutscene where you're not actually doing very much. You can't sort of look at the holograms by moving around them and stuff. It's actually like video. It's shots from video cameras, almost like security cameras,
Right.
As you're watching these people. And I think I've basically now seen all of those.
I didn't notice the game sort of accumulating or sort of saying, oh, there's a...
Yeah, I mean, the idea is that your suit thing that you're wearing is trying to decode these holograms as you're moving through the game, is the idea.
Right.
So you're seeing, every so often, you're seeing sort of cutscenes that show you what's going on with these two people. And it's to do with them sort of surviving in this part of the spacecraft or the space station that had crash landed on the planet when everything got sucked through the wormhole.
Yeah.
And that's what you're decoding. It's kind of the cameras from inside that part of the space station, so you're actually seeing what's happening there. So now, I think I've seen pretty much all of those now, from what the game has told me, or the suit has told me that I've decoded all of it now.
All right.
I don't think I'm anywhere near the end of the game, though. I think this is just part of the sort of the plot thing. But what I'll say is that the plot it's a fairly standard sci-fi story. There's nothing new here.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's nothing sort of groundbreaking about this story so far. So I don't know if there's going to be some sort of weird twist coming up, but so far I've been able to pretty much guess what was going to happen. And
my guess, and you
I've been
can
right.
confirm or deny this so far.
I'm not going to confirm or deny anything.
That's true. Yeah. Aye. So being cagey about your game.
Here's a politician's answer.
I'm suspecting some kind of temporal jiggery pokery.
I was very descriptive.
I am not going to confirm or deny that.
Okay.
Which pretty much confirms it.
All right. Do you live in a bungalow? No.
That's a different podcast.
Sorry.
So, but you said that this was the first boss in the first few hours, but you've already decoded all the stuff. I would think that if it's just the first boss, there should be at least two more.
I think there's more to come.
So I'll open out into more.
What I've seen has been pretty major plot stuff. What you actually get once you decode all of those bits, what you actually see at that point is pretty major stuff about what's going on with these two people. And like Euan says, there is, and I think it's fairly obvious.
I think it was, yeah.
There's like you say, temporal jiggery pokery.
I was kind of like, why are they doing it this way? And then it's like kind of dawned on me. It's like, well, that makes sense, and also it'd be quite a good sort of gut punch story moment for you to be like, I'm looking for these people.
Aye, I'm looking for these people.
Yeah.
Oh God, this may have been 400 years ago. Something like that. It's something along those lines anyway.
Yeah. Well, there's also another thing to do with that I'm interested in terms of how the story might go. Because up to certainly the points that I've seen, they haven't been fighting any of these alien things.
Yes, I noticed that as well. I've noticed that.
I wonder where that's going, perhaps.
That's some spoilers for you people.
You see holograms of the woman as she has
a gun.
Yeah, she's got a gun. She's got a shotgun. But you never see her using it. And you never see her like acting like she's under threat from anything. Yeah. In areas where you're constantly being attacked by shit.
You're just getting nailed all the time.
So I think that's probably going to be a story point that will be resolved soon for me.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. But let's say it's not not a groundbreaking story, but it's fun because it's in VR and you're holding a gun, an actual gun. How did you feel with that gun?
Quite comfortable, actually. Yeah. It works. You said in the previous episode, it's weighted quite nicely. It's it's not just some light. I mean, it does. It's light enough that you feel like quite confident doing all this sort of stuff. Like I didn't. Changing weapons, you have to basically hold it to the side of your head, which I thought was quite a cool.
Yeah, so it's like you're actually taking it off your back, taking your other weapon off your back. Aye.
So there's nice little features to it, and it's like a lot of control with because it's got all of the usual PlayStation buttons on it.
They're all over the place.
They are all over the place. I mean, that is the one that can be a wee bit frustrating when you first, because I forgot certain, if something wasn't happening regularly, and it was like, oh, you need to do this. I was like, what am I supposed to? Which part of this thing am I supposed to be pressing?
Yeah, you do get used to it.
Yeah,
you do get used to it.
I'm sure.
But I mean, one of the problems I've had is accidentally firing grenades and stuff. Because that button,
Oh yeah.
like it's supposed to be, is it the L2 button, but they're right on the front of the gun.
Yeah, there's two sort of trigger buttons on the front, and then there's like a proper trigger
Yeah.
thing for the back.
And that I keep on accidentally hitting that button and blowing myself up with missiles and stuff like that. So,
well, you saw me doing that several times, trying to fight through that cave, and there's sort of the big rocky. I think they're almost like grown version of the spiders, almost like.
Yeah.
And accidentally shooting grenades at wee spiders that were appearing below, blowing myself up.
You've so far seen, you've got the assault rifle and you've got the shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
One of the interesting things is you can't hold more than 2 guns.
You know my feelings on that.
So it got to a point in the game where I found the sniper rifle, basically, or essentially it was a sniper rifle. And I swapped it out for, I'd taken my assault rifle away, just went, a sniper rifle, let's try that out. And then I died. And then when I went back to the place where the sniper rifle was, there was nothing there. The assault rifle wasn't there anymore. And I had the sniper rifle still. So I'm now walking about with a sniper rifle and a shotgun, which is not a good combination.
Yeah.
I have no medium range weapon whatsoever. But one thing that's cool about the sniper rifle is that you physically have to aim the sniper rifle yourself with your hands when you're in VR and looking through the sights and everything like that.
Alright, yeah.
Which is a cool thing.
Yeah.
It makes the whole sniping thing completely different compared to just playing a first-person shooter with a mouse and a keyboard.
Well,
because you're physically got this gun up to your face and you're having to actually.
Well, I've been enjoying that with the assault rifle so far, just having the laser sight on it, and you do have to line it up. Like, you won't see the little target thing unless it's properly lined up with your eye and with the target. And that's quite cool. Just even using that from long range.
Indeed. The other thing is, I tried out the co-op mode.
Alright.
So playing online, you play online with one other person, and there are some just pre-made sort of co-op levels that you play through, and they're essentially just get to this point. Well, that's what I've seen with these ones so far. I haven't actually beaten one yet, but I've played with a couple of just random different people, and that's quite fun because you're actually, you can talk to each other. You're looking around and you can see somebody else, aiming their gun, and when you're looking at them, you're thinking they're standing in their living room waving this gun around, while you're standing in your living room waving this gun around. It's like, you know what I mean? So it's been a lot of fun. You're having to actually work together. They're pretty brutal, these co-op levels. They're quite hard. Okay. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun with that.
Still the same sort of, I'm going to say, low variety of enemies.
So far, yes, but from what I've seen in the co-op mode, that's going to change.
Alright then. So
because I've seen a much bigger variety of enemies in the co-op mode compared to the single player so far.
That's cool, because our biggest question still remains whether this is a tech demo or whether this is actually a full-fledged game.
I can't really answer that question yet, is the problem.
Politician, honestly.
Well, I suppose you'll know. I mean, so far it is I would say it's a full-fledged game. It has, it has plot, and there's, it's trying to get you invested in the characters, and but it does still feel a wee bit
basic,
like generic. There's kind of like the look of things. It's all great, and it's it does look good, but there's no like striking designs that kind of like jump out at you, which you would normally get in something with a kind of like some kind of property that has some that kind of love put into it, where it's it's got a bit of lore to it and stuff. This is very much you're dumped into a kind of sci-fi setting and something happens.
I suppose the actual bar to cross is, if you were to think about this game, if you were to play it with just a standard controller on just a normal TV and not VR, would you feel this game is justified its existence?
To be honest, I probably wouldn't play it.
No, yeah.
Because I would just think this is just a bog standard sort of sci-fi shooter
sub
thing.
Halo at that point. So.
Basically.
Yeah.
But it's just because it is a VR thing, and it's because of it's the gun. It's the gun that sells it. Really, it is a gimmick. Let's face it. But
I can only assume that there are more games being planned.
There are already a couple out, but I've looked in the PlayStation store and seen a couple of things, and I've just been like, these look absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Like, there's one that's just I don't know what the hell it's called, but you're just sailing up a swamp or something, shooting things. It's like Duck Hunt, but you're sailing up a boat in 3D.
Right, okay.
And it's, I was just looking at that just going, nah, I'm not spending money on that.
Well, they've gone through the rail shooter thing already with a couple of games, and that wasn't even using the... Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's worth trying it with the gun thing, but yeah.
I suppose it's just a matter of time. I mean, at first, VR did get a few tech demos, but eventually it got Resident Evil, which was definitely a proper game.
Yeah.
And even better, obviously, in VR than without it.
And that proved that, like, PlayStation VR has that capability.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we need any more tech demos, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
We don't need any more.
Just get a game.
Yeah, we need this. I think if the PSVR is going to survive, it needs to have more titles like that pretty soon.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Otherwise, people are just going to start selling them on eBay because the novelty will start to wear off after a while, and it's just like, well, how many how many silly little games that cost me £12 that only last an hour can I play before this is just a complete waste of time.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. There was a bit of a publicity push on.
You don't
on
hear that
Farpoint,
much about it now, do you?
Just I think in the week that it came out, but that was about it, really. I mean, I guess they're aware that probably not as many people, but a small fraction of people that own PS4s have the VR headset. So there's only so many people they can market it to, but.
They're still pushing it in the PlayStation Store. They're still, going to the PlayStation Store and they're like, PSVR!
Come on!
It's a thing!
Get on it!
Well, I suppose the other game we have to talk about today might be an answer to this question, whether this is taking VR into interesting areas.
Well, we'll get to that because I do have an opinion about that, but...
Alright.
Well, we'll get to that anyway. We'll see.
I'm quite curious.
But first of all, we're going to talk about something else. But so we'll wrap up the Farpoint thing. Anything else to add?
No,
you don't have to look at me terrified when I ask you.
I don't know why that filled me with such dread. No, I'd say I've enjoyed it so far, and yeah, you're probably right. As a game, not in the VR thing, it doesn't hold up. But if it's a decent length of one player solo campaign, whatever. If that's got like a decent length and has, like you say, the kind of story elements that are there, then it's at least something. It does appear to be trying to be its own game and not just, as you said, a tech demo.
Anything that has a single player campaign deserves a little bit of attention.
But then, one thing I would say is I remember we talked about the VR worlds and that Scavenger's Odyssey. I would say that had a lot more iconic imagery, and like it felt like there was a bit of, I know because it was a short demo essentially, but like the design of it was a wee bit more interesting, and the enemies weren't as interesting, but like a lot of the sort of space stuff and the kind of jumping about and everything stood out a bit more.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Right. Anyway, we really need to move on for this subject. So that's Farpoint. That's by Impulse Gear. So Pawel.
Hello.
You want to revisit something as well?
Revisit is a good word, because Battletech has been with me probably for most of my life, eh?
Yeah.
Yes, I've just checked here, and apparently Battletech is only a couple of years younger than I am, because the original...
Oh God, you're old.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm like wine that's like obviously quite bitter. Or whatever wines do when they go old. Do they get better wines? I don't drink alcohol, but I'm assuming...
It depends on
I'm an expensive wine
I mean,
now.
you've definitely... It seems like you've fermented anyway.
Thank you. So I'm fermented well. Battletech has fermented over the years to the point that for a good probably decade or so there hasn't been any Battletech around. Back in the day, back in the golden 80s, there was a lot of it around. I'm just checking here, and apparently, apart from the original war game, because it wasn't really a board game as such, although it did have hexes, but it played more like an actual war game.
Yeah.
Apart from that, and a number of expansions and revisions and different editions and blah blah blah, there was obviously a lot of video games made for that universe. Quite a lot of them really successful and really good back in the day, just absolute classics. But there was also at least one card game. There was over 100 novels written in that universe. That's amazing. And there was, which I remember actually, a lovely television cartoon animated series which was quintessentially 80s. It was brilliant and awful at the same time. I love it and dread to even try to remember it. Battletech is essentially huge robots shooting at each other with lasers and stuff. There's people sitting in them and driving them around. And when you think about it from this particular angle, it's just horrific. But it's one of those franchises that survived, I don't know, let's count, over 3 decades now, and has a huge following. Still up to this day. I mean, it's massive. The Kickstarter, the recent Kickstarter that I'm going to talk about, or the early fruits of this Kickstarter, that's been successful beyond measure. And there's a lot of reasons why Battletech was so successful and so popular back in the day and still is. Apart from the fact that, yes, those are essentially huge robots and some people in them. The whole idea behind this science fiction setting is that humans obviously have colonized, as they tend to do. That humans, generally speaking, just spawn around, just procreate, breed, make more babies, and send them to other planets. And yeah, so Battletech, you've got, I don't know, let's say a couple hundred planets, so a lot of factions, and a very, very well done, maybe slightly archetypic if you measure it by standards nowadays, but still quite dense. I'm gonna say political and cultural cocktail that they've made for this setting. There is so much backstabbing, so many intrigues, so many various kinds of plots that all those, over 100 novels illustrate. And the war game itself, even if it was just about robots shooting at each other, fueled all that. So people absolutely love it. I suppose going down to... Yeah, I know this is actually a video gaming episode, so I shouldn't be talking about the original war game. But this is what started it all.
I feel like we're getting towards it. So
yeah.
Carry on.
This is your style, though, Pawel.
I know.
You like to talk about the history of everything.
That's because I'm old.
You spend 15 minutes talking about the history, and I say,
and then
Pawel,
I might just mention the actual
then
game.
I say, Pawel, you've got 2 minutes left.
Like, oh my god! Yeah, it's decent. Let's go. Yeah. Right. So. Yes, the essence of Battletech gameplay as such, as regardless of whatever dice you roll, is that those huge machines have a lot of armor on themselves and don't die easily. That's all there is. I mean, in any wargaming game, let's call it that way. Wargaming game. You're going to worry about tactics, yes. And if you think about it from this angle, then Battletech is a skirmish game, because you only have a number of figures, usually fairly small, 4, 8 maybe, but usually 4 figures that you actually move around on the map, and your opponent would have the same amount. So there is a lot of micromanaging for every single figure, and you worry about bits and bobs on that particular model. On every robot can lose a bit of armor on their leg, and then maybe some armor on their, I don't know, left torso section on the back. And essentially, at some point, a laser or a machine gun can cut through this and maybe reach some sort of weak point and damage one of the weapons, etc., etc.
And these mechanics are roughly unchanged in the video game.
Indeed.
Of the scene.
Well done, you.
So, yes, thank you.
Focus him.
So now what we have is the lovely, amazing people that have made several Shadowrun games, which I love, and I shouldn't be talking about here because I'm being now forced to talk about the video game Battletech. These brilliant and fantastic people have now have been working on the Battletech video game for well over a year, I think, and have come up with what is a close backer beta.
Sorry, I've gotten kind of slightly confused about the timeline. So this beta of Battletech they're doing now, this video game, this is the first video game made of BattleTech.
There was a well over half
Mech
a dozen.
Warrior.
Well, this is what the whole time I've been thinking, because I was like, "Am I aware
It's
of
Mech
BattleTech?
Warrior.
Have I played BattleTech?"
There
No,
was
wait, Mech
a
Warrior.
fair number of mech warriors, and there was at least 2 mech commanders as well.
So they were essentially spun off from.
There were actual BattleTech video games as well. It's the franchise was really quite fertile.
Okay.
What we're getting now is a turn-based BattleTech game as such. It's not a Mech Commander because it's not an RTS turn-based. Yeah, it's definitely not Mech Warrior because what we have is we manage, or we order around on the battlefield a fairly smallish number of mechs.
So you're ordering like an entire squad of mechs, basically.
It's called a lance, man. I mean, honestly,
I don't care.
we're talking about BattleTech now, which means we're really well embedded in the fandom. It's a lance,
No,
Chris.
you are really well embedded in the fandom.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
an outsider looking in.
Okay,
And you're being rude to me.
tread lightly because we're talking about.
Like any good nerd would.
We don't want to bring the wrath
Stop
of
bad
these
mouthing
fans
this thing
down
I
on-
like.
This is BattleTech. It's
This is like me standing outside the window of a Games Workshop.
no. If you walk into a church, you follow a certain set of rules.
Right.
There is deities out there apparently. So BattleTech, yes, you command a lance. Okay, in the demo, in the backer beta, what you get is a skirmish, which is essentially a fight of 4 mechs against 4 mechs. Because the devs really want all the backers to test the gameplay mechanics and find the bugs, which is what betas are about. And I really wanted to mention that now, but the game itself will be so much more. It really seems to be a dream come true for any fan, and certainly for this fan right here. Because what you're gonna end when the game ships is your own mercenary company, your plot lines, you get to make your character, but you get to manage a roster of mech warriors, which are the pilots for all the war machines. You get to modify and design builds for various mech chassis. I'm sorry, this is a foreign tongue to me. There's going to be a huge scale for this game because, stretch goals and Kickstarter are a wonderful thing. What you get now is a very well done, very well working beta, I would say. I've played it obviously enough to have seen almost anything in it already. I've not really seen any bugs, so well done. And I've seen the spirit of the original game really well preserved. And in almost any sort of facet of the game. So yeah, if you're into a very unique kind of tactical strategy game as such, where huge units of soldiers don't matter as much as a single machine with a complicated layout of devices in its chassis and armor that you have to worry about, what kind of weapons are going to shoot at you, how are you going to manage your own heat levels, and when are you exactly going to power down because you're way too hot, and those machines are fueled by whatever nuclear reactors and may actually overheat. So all these and many more aspects matter quite a lot. Sorry, I can't really do BattleTech justice because it's such a huge topic. Yeah.
Well, briefly, how mechanically does the game work? Is this like point and click and stuff?
Right. Yeah. So that's a good point. So the beta, as I said, that's just a skirmish, just to test out the mechanics of the game as they are at this stage of development. Once you get your mechs to walk around with them, until you actually detect your enemies, you're free to move around. So you click on every mech. Each mech will be moving differently depending on whether they have jump jets, which allow them to briefly jump and fly around and land, maybe. Some of them will be able to run further, some of them not so much. But you walk around the map that you've been given in this particular beta until you actually detect your enemies. Once you do, then everything becomes turn-based. Activations for every unit on your side as well as your opponents depend on the weight of your mech, and everything in fact in Battletech really depends on how much your machine weighs. You've got your light, medium, heavy and assault types, and each of them will have different roles in your lance. You'd think about them as scouts, skirmishers, line troops and I suppose heavy assault troops, but yeah, the lightest machines will move first, and then the heavier and the like. You've got a lot of, a range of tactical choices at your disposal to mix it up a bit, but all you end up doing is what you would expect from a tactical turn-based game, which is you want to surround your enemies or lure them into kill zones, shoot at them, and this is where the intricacies of the Battletech sort of setting or mechanical setting really come into place, because you want to. You don't want to just cause DPS into whatever random armor on your enemy. You want to outsmart them, shoot at weakened parts of the enemy mechs, shoot at their backs where armor is weaker, all the basic stuff you can, or just use your jump jets and land on their heads and kill the pilot somewhere inside there. Things like this.
It really does sound like a harebrained schemes game.
Well, yeah.
Like the Shadowrun series and stuff. The whole thing, just you wander about until you get in a fight, and then it's all turn-based.
Yeah. Obviously, the game itself will have.
I like that.
A meta stage as well. It's not just going to be that. But we'll talk about it more when it actually becomes available. At the moment, that's just a tech demo. But it's amazing.
You got a spare code for that by any chance?
I will. Let's talk about the
podcast. Not on air, guys.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well.
Don't invalidate Pawel's membership to the Mech Warrior.
There's ways to do things, man.
Pavel gets things done. Okay, so that's
Battletech.
It's Battletech.
Battletech, the beta.
Battletech, the closed back beta. Yes.
So when's the actual full release scheduled? Do you know?
When ready.
When it's ready.
When it's ready. Okay. Well, these guys are very open when it comes to their communication with backers, which has always been received in the past. And I should probably let's continue. I'm being given signs here that I keep babbling. Battletech is awesome. That
is Battletech by Harebrained Schemes and published by Paradox.
We'll be talking more
about
Pavel.
It. Right, let's move on.
More about
Let's
it.
move on, because we need to squeeze more stuff into this episode. I think we've woken up a bit now, so let's get going. We've got another VR game, the latest. The latest, this is where we start speeding up. The latest big release for VR at the moment, is Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Long live and prosper. No, live long and prosper.
Long live and prosper. So yeah, Star Trek Bridge Crew. You know what this is, right? You know what this is? This is basically the video game version of Captain Sonar, the board game that we talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago. This is where you're basically put into a position on the helm of a starship in the Star Trek universe. Now, the starship is the USS Aegis, which I think they've just created for this game. I don't remember this ever existing in any. And I've seen a lot of them.
Well, some Trek fan.
Some Trek fan will put me right.
It certainly
but
doesn't look like anything from the original series. Maybe.
Well, no, it's not, because it's set in the reboot. It's set in the rebooted universe. You don't like that?
That reboot universe can get to. Like, honestly, I'm not even that big a Star Trek fan, but Jesus, man.
I have to say, I liked the first 2 films. The third one was terrible.
I heard the third one was the best of the 3.
No, the third one's
the
terrible.
second one's shite.
Oh, well.
Into darkness, into wanking, more like.
I quite like them all.
That's Euan's being contrary because he thinks it's cool.
No, it's shite. Come on. The first one's alright.
As the podcast crew in general, we have mixed opinions about them all.
Well,
and I would disagree with you entirely. But The third film was terrible. It was completely forgettable, the third film.
The rest of the podcast was essentially going to be just that.
They did that thing where they signed up for 3 films and then went, we kind of ran out of ideas for the third one.
But did you? Well, yeah. Did you? We watched Star Trek in Darkness in the same cinema. Did you not hear my snort of derision when Benedict Cumberpants comes out with this Khan,
gentleman,
and then they basically just role reverse random bits from Wrath of Khan without any sort of con. Why are we getting into this?
I'm just gonna set up a timer here and give you another couple of minutes.
I like to see you getting angry about completely pointless things.
It's just one of the things. I fucking hate that film. It's so bad.
Yes, this is Chris's personality just showing up again.
That's
when you were playing that game about.
I'm accusing you of being contrary. I'm the contrary one, and I do it deliberately.
Sitting in front of a ship's captain just so that he can't see all the other players managing a ship. I remember you mentioned that.
Despite this game being set in the same shitey universe as the shitey film Star Trek Into Darkness, it does not diminish the experience at all.
No, it
Chris,
doesn't.
Tell us all about it.
Over to you. Right.
My god!
So yes, you're in a VR headset, okay, in which you're in the rebooted universe of Star Trek, and you will be put into one of 4 roles. So you'll either be a helmsman, the engineer, the tactical officer, or the captain of the ship. And you will play through missions, and you've all got your own little roles to do. And it's, like I say, it is basically just like that Captain Sonar board game. Yeah. Because it's almost like they were...
It could be made by the same person.
It could be made by the same person, aye. Because you've just got your different stations, and all the stations, they all do different things, but some of the stuff that you'll be doing, other people can't see, so you really have to communicate. And it's about communication, this. So you can play it single player. Don't. Alright, just don't. Pawel.
What?
Pawel, play online with other people.
I'm sorry, I even play MMORPGs alone.
Yes, but single player mode in this is essentially you're the captain and you're giving general orders, but you can't do anything specific. So if you want to do something specific, you have to take over the position of the like, if you want to do something specific with the helm, for example, make the ship go on a certain course, you have to take over the helm and do that yourself. But then when you're doing that, you can't give orders to anybody else while you're doing it. So it's stupid.
So if I play Destiny in a fire team of matchmake 2 other people, and one of them has enabled mic, and that scares me away, and I rage quit the game immediately because somebody said a word, it's not a game for me. Gotcha.
Well, because you have to communicate, right? And one thing I will say before I actually go into what actually happens in this game is that I've had pretty positive experiences with being paired up with people in this. Generally, people have been really forgiving of mistakes, up for a laugh as well. Yeah. Like, people have just been quite not taking it seriously is the thing.
Although it's still playing the game, though. Yeah. They're not like... Nobody's really cocking it up, just, I'm going to muck about with it. Like, they're still playing it and having a laugh.
Apart from Chris, I'm assuming.
Oh, no.
All you need to do is press the red alert button.
Yeah, you just can't... If you're the captain, there's a big red button on the side of your chair and you can't help pressing it. So there's different things you can do in the game. So there's a campaign, there's a story mode, which is basically like you're at the USS Aegis and you are trying to find a home for the Vulcans to live in, because it's the rebooted universe and Vulcan has been destroyed.
I can see a vein on the forehead here, slightly popping up.
Saying rebooted universe.
So you're playing in the rebooted universe, and so you can play this campaign thing, which is 6 or 7 missions. You can also do the Kobayashi Maru challenge.
The simulation thing.
The simulation thing. There is an achievement in that in which you have to, I think it's transport 120 people off the Kobayashi Maru during that. I think that's impossible. I'm not sure that can be done. But if you're familiar with the Star Trek films,
then you know that
series,
it has to be
you'll know what the Kobayashi Maru thing is. It's basically a no-win situation. Spoilers, but not really.
Yeah.
But it is a no-win situation. It becomes very apparent that it's a no-win situation. But you can also play ongoing missions. So they're just basically random missions that you're given, and they have nothing to do with the campaign or anything like that. It's just, here's some random stuff for you to go and do. It might be go and scan some things, go and teleport some people, go and attack these ships, whatever. So yeah, you've got a few choices there. Having said that, there's not really a lot of depth to it. Okay, and it's one of the things
in terms of gameplay, or
in terms of like just in terms of like how much stuff there is to do. So I'm hoping there's going to be some sort of DLC somewhere down the line where they'll kind of expand things a bit, give you some more sort of mission options and things like that. Because I just get the feeling that the replayability, once the novelty of this game wears off, once the novelty being on, you know, an actual Star Trek starship, once that kind of wears off a bit and you've done all the mission types and all that sort of thing, I just feel like you just won't play it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be a game that will just get forgotten. But having said that, okay, at the moment, I'm still, like, I haven't played a good few hours of it now. I mean, it's pretty much all I've played over the past 2 or 3 days. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and it's not really worn off yet. So I'll go into, like, what the different sort of positions are. So,
do you actually make your character?
You do have a very limited, very, very limited options on what you can look like. You can be human or Vulcan. And then you've got there's not a lot of options on how you can make your face look, basically.
They seem to have made all the Vulcans look really weird. There's a few odd, like, beardy Vulcans coming
Yeah,
through.
you can make some beardy Vulcans.
Yeah.
So yeah, you make your character, you jump in, and then if you're at the helm, you're basically steering the ship. So you've got, you know, your screen in front of you that shows you, like, where this is like a radar thing almost. So it shows you where different things are. One of the interesting things is it doesn't have all the asteroids and stuff on your sort of computer screen in front of you. So you have to look out the view screen to make sure you're not bumping into anything, because you can just smash into asteroids.
So do you actually walk around on this bridge?
You can't walk around. Just once you're in your seat, you're stuck in your seat. So once the game starts, that's it. You can swivel in your chair.
And do other players see you swivel?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you can look around at each
game,
other and everything.
The game uses the move controllers. So you're basically, the move controllers are your hands. So you're using the trigger to just, like, press buttons and stuff.
All right.
So yeah, you're sitting just pressing buttons, you know.
I suppose that's exactly what characters in the Trekkie universe do. Just
Indeed.
press buttons.
Much they sit at desks and press
Well,
buttons.
that's all you see them doing. They're just sitting pressing random buttons and looking like, I don't know what any of this does.
Which is why, like, as much as I found the Helmsman when I played it quite engaging and enjoyable because you're actually moving the ship about, somehow I felt like it wasn't thematically... Like, did they do that in... Like, I mean, sometimes they have to do manoeuvres, but, like, the whole thing with the starships is that they're quite big and they sort of you don't just go like.
Now here's the thing, Euan, you're going to hate this. I think this is something they added into the rebooted universe.
Here we go.
But it makes more sense. It does make more sense.
I'm not gonna...
Watch the Next Generation, and, like, the helm position there is just a bunch of buttons, and you're sitting there going, you can't steer a fucking ship with that thing.
You're not doing anything.
That's just buttons.
No, I wouldn't say, because I enjoyed doing it, and it made the experience worthwhile.
Yeah. Oh no, it did. So yeah, you do have this little. It's basically just a little disc, and you can just move.
Yeah.
You move the little thing around in it, and that steers the ship for you. And you can set your speed if you're the helmsman. You're also in control of the big lever that they've got in the rebooted universe that does the. I'm just constantly saying rebooted universe.
You're just dog whistling me. Right.
So that engages your warp and your impulse drive and stuff like that. If you're in the tactical position, you've basically got a very similar screen to what the helm's got, but you're also in charge of the shields, the photon torpedoes, and doing the phasers, also scanning things. So you get to choose which things you're going to scan. An interesting aspect of this whole thing is that if you have the shields up and if you have the photon torpedoes on, that increases the range at which you can be detected. So if you want to do some stealthy stuff and you're at tactical, you probably want to keep the shields and the torpedoes off because it really, really lowers your detection range. So you can just try and sneak past some of the Klingons and not engage them.
Okay, because I can imagine that apart from the manual, whatever, dexterity aspect of video games, which the helmsman would have, because he or she steers the ship, I suppose here are some choices that the scanning person also has to do. So.
Yes.
All right. My main question, and I was sort of waiting for it to maybe be answered, is do you actually just choose to do these things on your own, or do you have to wait for your captain to tell you to do stuff?
That's entirely your decision.
How on earth in any such crew will the captain be actually followed by anybody?
Okay, so here's a thing, and I'm pretty sure I said this when I was playing and Euan was there. If you've got a good crew, the captain doesn't really need to be there.
And here are our actual political views.
You can play without the captain, or is it
you can play without. You can play without stuff, certain roles if you want to. Yeah. Now the other thing is the engineer. The engineer's an interesting position because you've basically just got a bunch of power bars and you're deciding how much power goes into what things. So more power to the phasers, it makes your phasers are able to shoot further. More power to the shields, your shields will last longer. More power to the engines, then you'll go faster. But then you can also, you're in charge of repairing things, so certain systems will start to get shot down, so you might have to go and repair the warp core. You're sending repair teams out. Just using panel in front of you.
So you
can also reroute the power. So if you really, really, really want to increase your phaser range, you can start rerouting all the power from the shields and other things. Yeah. Because that's what the engineer does. Yeah. But it starts fucking up the systems if you do that.
Classic Federation stuff.
I mean, the computer starts shouting at you after a while if you do that. So you're just like, okay, right, I'll put that back then.
So there is a little bit of gameplay mechanic as such telling you, listen, you're actually making a mistake.
Now, if you're the captain, you're sitting in the big chair and you've got the seat, the buttons on the armrests. Okay, so the buttons are they'll show you the maps and stuff on one side, and the other side you've got the red alert button, which you will constantly press. You've also got
you see the ship status.
You see the ship status, so you get general overview of things, but you don't really see the details of anything. So this is why communication is important, because the helmsman needs to say to the engineer if he needs more speed, because he can't control how fast he can go. Only the engineer can do that by changing the power levels and stuff. So it's all about communication in this game.
Yeah, the captain can kind of coordinate all those things.
And that's the captain's role. That's the captain's role. The captain is there to make sure that everybody is going in the same direction, basically. Pulling in the same direction.
The way I see it is, do you call it Chinese whisper in this country?
Chinese whispers, yes.
Yeah, right. So the captain is essentially there to make things harder, yes?
Make things harder?
Yes, because for whatever reason, the way I see it is, it's a slightly bored person that has less to do than anybody else, but also a little bit of a, I suppose, idea that he or she has got some sort of authority.
Well, no, but here's the thing, right? Being the captain can either be the most stressful thing or it can be the easiest thing. And it's all to do with just the capability of your crew. If your crew know what they're doing and they're working together, you don't really need to say very much. All you need to do is just, because you've got the objective screen in front of you, you need to tell them what you need to do. So you need to say, we need to go and scan that space station. Okay? The crew will just, if you've got a good crew, you don't need to tell them anything other than that. The helmsman will move you closer to the space station, the tactical guy will scan it. If the Klingons turn up, then, you can rely on a tactical guy to get the shields up and torpedoes up, and you don't have to actually tell them to do these things. But then again, you might have crew that, you've got 3 people that it's their first game. If you're the captain, you're telling everybody what to do.
Right.
So it can be very stressful, it can be very easy.
Gotcha.
It's because the different positions are quite easy to do in a sense. I mean, I think the helmsman's a pretty easy job. You just need to make sure you're not bumping into asteroids and keeping things in front of you if you want to shoot them and stuff. Tactical's a bit more, you've got a few more things to do. Engineer, you've got a lot of things to keep track of. Captain, you've got a few things you need to keep track of. But none of it's overly difficult, okay? But it's just because the combination of all the things, and, if you want to go to, if you have to rescue some survivors from a ship or something like that, there's just so many things that you have to do if you're doing that. You have to make sure you have to scan the ship to make sure that you get all the life forms that are there. You have to make sure the shields are down if you want to transport, which can put you into danger if there's Klingon birds of prey hanging about the place. So then there's a lot of just good timing, good teamwork and stuff like that goes into just a successful mission. And that's the satisfying thing about it. It's just really coming together as a team, being able to, pull off all these things exactly when they need to be done. And that's what I like about this game. This is why the sort of novelty of it isn't wearing off. It's because I'm jumping into a game with 3 random strangers, and somehow we're all just working as a sort of well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I tend to imagine your gameplay style in multiple player games as a bit of a wrench thrown into cogs. So here I am
I
actually
would
quite
actually
puzzled.
say that Euan's attempt at captain was a wrench thrown in, but it was simultaneously the best and worst attempt at captaining I've ever seen. It was amazing.
Because the thing is, when I saw you play it, I kind of was like, oh, you've worked out how to make this work, because you put very simple commands, just right, okay. And I think keeping up with how everything's supposed to be going and what you're, because you, I guess, know what the other roles are.
Yeah, because I've played all of them at least once.
I haven't played the engineer or the other or tactical. So yeah, I didn't really know what to tell them. I'll just be like, shoot at that, I'll be fine. Just mumbling some crap at them.
There was just a couple of points where you were just sort of sitting in the captain's chair going, that one, just, you just go over there. But you were given the right orders. There was not anything very captainy about it.
No, there was nothing captainly at all.
Do you at least get to know your characters' names or any sort of
they'll be above their heads.
IDs?
They'll be like the player will have a thing above their heads.
Are there some sort of, I don't know, ranks? Do you at least get to roleplay a tiny bit?
Your experience level, so how many missions you've played, you get an experience bar that fills up. So you do start off as an ensign and it goes up lieutenant commander, blah blah blah. I think I'm lieutenant commander at the moment.
So how do they address you?
Chris.
Not Lieutenant Bowbag?
No, nothing like that. It's my PlayStation username. I don't want to give that out.
Alright.
So that's just how people communicate with each other. And by the way, this is cross-platform, so your people are playing this on PC with people that are playing it on PlayStation, which is something you don't see very often.
It's it works very smoothly as well.
I've had a couple of bugs. Sometimes when you go to warp, you remain in warp forever, and it doesn't come back out.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I've seen that a number of occasions, and you just have to quit. Basically, nothing you can do about it. But I did have quite a lot of jokes with one team of people about being stuck permanently in warp and asking the engineer to go outside and have a look.
Well, I think everybody I found that we played it with was up for a bit of a laugh.
Yeah,
no one was getting arsey. It was a nice atmosphere for an online game.
It was.
I enjoyed
and in
that.
fact, Pawel, I'm going to give you a go before you go home today. We've got plenty of time, man.
Doesn't take long to play.
Okay, yeah, but I've only ever had a headset on 3 times when I was playing Destiny, only because I actually played with a friend. Apart from that, my experience with chatting to other gamers...
You're going to have to start somewhere, alright? You're going to have to start somewhere. This is the 21st century, Pawel.
It's immersion. How do I talk? Do I talk in them in character?
Yes, do it.
You decide. You are entirely responsible for your own enjoyment of this game. Really,
that's stressful.
Oh yeah, you are.
It gives you a lot of leeway. It's like if you want to go, and if you go on with 4 people who are all full on role playing as we are on the bridge.
But they're strangers. I don't know who they are.
Look, if somebody in this game, right, is going to be role playing as...
I'm getting social anxiety just thinking about it.
As going to be role playing as their position, nobody's going to tell you to stop it. They're just going to be like, oh yeah, brilliant, let's go.
It makes it easier for you to play the game. Like I was saying about how Chris was playing the captain thing. He wasn't giving it full on, make it so, but he was commanding, and he was like... He was just explaining his instruction and functioning as a captain.
But this is one of the things, you start speaking Star Trek language when you're playing this game, and you can't help it because it's easy, because everybody else knows what that language means.
Yeah. Okay, no, that sounds actually pretty cool.
Yeah. And I've just realised how long this episode's gone on for, so let's wrap that up.
No.
So that was Star Trek Bridge Crew, which is developed by Red Storm Entertainment and published by Ubisoft. Ubisoft seem to be publishing quite a bit of VR stuff at the moment, especially for PlayStation, I've noticed. So, they did the Werewolves Within, which I haven't had a chance to talk about. I've seen the logo popping up in a number of things. So yeah, they seem to be grasping this.
Yeah.
And we were going to talk about Endless Space 2, but we do not have the time, I'm afraid.
We'll get there. The game is out there, and there's plenty more to explore.
You have talked about it before.
Yeah. But it was just early access back then.
Yeah. So we'll get to that next time then. We'll reserve a special space for that.
Awesome.
Okay, that was episode 53. let's give out all our internet stuff. So you can email us. That's firstplayertoken@gmail.com if you want to ask us any questions, give us comments, criticism, anything like that. If you want a question that can be answered in the show, we'd be happy to do that. Just let us know. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube. Those are all the large and unnecessary First Player Token, sometimes just First Player Token. Our Twitter, specifically, is @1ST Player Token.
That's which is once player token.
Thank you very much, Euan.
Player token, if you want.
We do have a website. The less said about that, the better. We have a Discord, and I do now have a dedicated link for the Discord. So that's discord.me/First Player Token, FIRST Player Token, and that will get you straight onto your Discord server. My Twitch username is Unnecessary Chris. We stream board games on there sometimes, and I occasionally play video games. Not as much as I used to, but I'm playing through Borderlands 2 at the moment. That's my excuse. And we are part of the Podnose Network,
the UK's leading entertainment podcast network.
Very nice, Euan. Very nice.
Keeping it smooth.
Anything new?
Much the same as last mentioned. Still a lot of wine-based podcasts, and it's a bit of traction. Something got some good guests on the other day. I don't know. Cheap Show, I think it's been.
Oh yeah, Cheap Show.
Yeah, they would get a few mentions in the Guardians. They get some decent comedians on there, so worth a listen if you get sick of us. Try our sister podcasts.
Are they officially your sister?
They're all our sisters. Every member of the Podnose network is our sister.
I realised the other day though that one of the I don't know which one it is, but one of the shows is hosted by an ex-Big Brother contestant.
Yes, I saw that. I don't know.
That's a bit weird.
Aye, I think that's one of the
No
ones that's been imported sort of mid run. It's gone. Oh, this will be good. It's just fair enough, you know. Get all the British podcasts under one banner.
Yes.
It'll be us versus
even
Richard
us.
Herring. It'll be all of us against Richard Herring.
Okay, thank you, Euan. So we will be back next week. We will have a board games episode. I'm sure we've got a couple of new things that we still need to play actually.
Probably.
And I'm hoping that in the next few days I'll get the board game version of this War of Mine. Which I am very much looking forward to, by the way.
That'll be
very
fun.
much looking forward
Well, harrowing. That's it.
I'm sure it'll be really, really depressing.
It'll be a lot of harrowing fun.
So, thanks for listening.
Aye, cheers and goodbye.
And let us know which new Star Trek is better than the other one. There's just 3 to choose from,
Hey, right, but look, it's not a contest about who's better. All right, this is Euan's problem.
Are you just going to say rebooted universe one more? I had to said it then.
I'm not going to say it. So we'll see you next week for our rebooted Board Games Universe episode. Sorry, I got a bit confused.
Doesn't make any sense.
Bye.
Bye.